What goes through your mind when you get out of that swim?
Oh, I can't believe I've got to run a marathon now. Basically, at about 130 to 160 Ks, you start going to a very dark place.
Yes. Sounds like fun. What is an Ironman?
Full Ironman, which I know you've also done, entails a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180k bike, and a 42 kilometer run. So it's basically like the marathon of all the extreme sports that you could do.
How important is family to you?
By having that strong foundation of family, it's like you know that you've always got this foundation of people that are just going to love you unconditionally. Doesn't matter whether you're a success, a failure. To them, they don't care about that. They just want to see you happy at the end of the day.
What is it that gets you to grind through it? Because a lot of people give up. Quick one, give me 30 seconds of your time. Firstly, thank you very much for taking the time out to watch this video. I really hope that you do enjoy it. And the whole goal and what we want to achieve is getting to know people better through the 4 aspects of their life, through their spirituality, through their health, through their business, as well as their family. So enjoy it with us. And if you do enjoy this, can I ask you one thing, is to please subscribe and keep active and keep watching us. And let's grow this thing in South Africa together. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wholeful. I'm Sean Davey, and we're super excited to have Louise Bentley with us today. Today, we're not just talking about wholeness, we're literally racing right into it. I've got Louise Bentley with me, Ironman African, I've got to get this right, Louise, African Ironman Amateur Champion, right? And who's gearing up for a 9th full Ironman, which is absolutely crazy. And we'll get more into what that's all about. And if you think running a podcast is tough, try and swim, bike, and run your way all the way to the top of a podium. Louise is not just an incredible athlete, she's a powerhouse of energy and inspiration who's ready to share her wild ride behind those finish lines. We're diving into her training, her rituals, the laughs, the grits, and the moments of pure adrenaline that shape her journey. So buckle up, because this episode is going to be as energized as a sprint to the finish line. So let's get started. Louise, welcome.
Thank you. What an exciting intro. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you here. And let's start off maybe just chatting about what is an Ironman to all of us that haven't got a real clue about what Ironman is. What is it all about?
Full Ironman, which I know you've also done, which is really, really an exciting adventure. I think most people end up entering an Ironman because they're at a bar late one night and there's some sort of like challenge that happens between 2 friends and they think that it's going to be a once-off event in their life. Ironman or comrades, it's like the ultimate test of endurance. And a full Ironman entails a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180k bike, and a 42 kilometer run. So it's basically like the marathon of all the extreme sports that you could do.
Okay, so to break that up, so that's 2 mid-mile miles.
Yes.
Pretty much. Which
More,
people
little
try
bit more, because a mile is 1.6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In the sea.
Yes.
And with currents and sharks
Yes.
and all the other...
You never know what you're going to get on the day.
And, okay, so people train like a year to do that.
Yes.
And then on top of that, then you jump on a bicycle and do like 2 947s.
Yeah.
After 947, I'm dead already. So you do 2 of those in a row. And then you still do a full marathon straight after that. And what's the feeling like of getting out of that swim and knowing that you've still got a full cycle and a full marathon ahead? What goes through your mind when you get out of that swim?
So actually, I'll take it back a few steps. I think when you're training for a full Ironman, what gets you up every day is actually the fear. So you like literally your alarm goes off every day. You think, oh God, I've got to get up and train, because you're actually so scared of the event itself.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, going into my 9th full Ironman training, that fear is still there for me because it's such a big and long day. You actually don't know what can happen. So you can actually put everything together in your training. You can believe that everything's going to work out. And sometimes it just comes down to luck, and you might not actually end up finishing the day, no matter how successful your training is. So I think coming out of the swim, most of the time you're like, hallelujah, I'm so excited to get out of the swim and get onto the bike. You don't even think about like how long the bike or the run's actually going to be. You're just super excited to get out the water because you're over it. You're done fighting with the water and the other swimmers, and you're actually excited to like get your body moving into the bike. I think then going into the bike, basically at about 130 to 160 Ks, you start going to a very dark place, because from your bum being sore to getting like shooting pins and needles down your arms to like a burning foot to your back killing you to your neck killing you, all you're thinking about is actually being excited, getting onto the run. You're like, I never want to see this bicycle ever again, getting off the bike. And then as you start the run, you think, oh shit, I can't believe I've got to run a marathon now. And then you're like getting into it, you're excited, your body starts getting into the motion. I personally always feel like between 30 and 36 Ks, I don't know why, there's always like this very dark place that you go to. It's always like the third quarter of your marathon that it's like I really, really have to dig deep. And then it's weird. All of a sudden get to like 37, 38 Ks and I think, I'm almost done, which is so crazy because you still have like another 6 or 8 Ks to go, but you think it's so short. And then it's just the overwhelming excitement of getting to the finish line.
Yes. Sounds like fun. And tell me, what's your favorite part of the event?
That's actually a really tough one, I've got to say. So I come from a competitive swim background, so I've always really enjoyed the swimming. The swimming's like the easiest for me, to be honest. But I think I've really learned to love the biking because it's about being outdoors. You're able to chat, you're able to meet other people, see beautiful places. Like when I went to World Champs in Nice, France, cycling up in the Alps was like one of the most exquisite experiences of my life. But then also the running, I absolutely love the running because it's so simple. Like all you need is a pair of running shoes and shorts and t-shirt. So I've really got to say that maybe I am like the ultimate triathlete in that sense, in that I genuinely love the swim, the bike and run as much as each other. And I love doing all three together. I wouldn't actually pick one over the other.
And obviously I've seen you in your running side and you're very strong on the run. What is the most important part of the 3 legs that that you feel is the most important in an Ironman to be able to achieve or win an Ironman?
I think that everyone will tell you that you have to be a strong biker, because I think that is where like you make it or lose it at the end of the day. Like if you cannot bike properly, it's the longest part of any triathlon, whether you're doing a full Ironman, half Ironman, Olympic distance, sprint, it's still the longest amount of time you're going to be out there. But you don't swim, bike, run. You actually have to swim to bike to run. So you need to be able to stitch all 3 together. So the fact that I've got a strong swim and I can come out in like the top 3 to 5 ladies and then bike even into a better position. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to have like a very strong run and hold it together and not let the wheels come off at the end so that you can have negative splits on the run. So I think you have to be strong across all 3. But at the end of the day, the biking aspect, I would say, is the thing that I've had to work the hardest on. And I've been biking for 10 years and only now I'm actually starting to see like massive results in that through consistency.
And like, for instance, another part of it that I always hear about is nutrition. Right? We had a chat about this the other day and I was shocking with nutrition. I thought the bottle of water is there for when you're thirsty, but apparently you've got to keep on having the nutrition and train on nutrition. And I think that's where a lot of guys lose it. They don't really realize how important nutrition is for that whole race. Why is nutrition so important?
Yeah, so I think this is the best question. I think that nutrition is actually the fourth discipline of triathlons, for sure. And someone actually asked me this question the other day, like when I'm out in an Ironman or when I'm training, like, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
And I just said to them, I'm constantly thinking like, okay, you got to drink, you got to eat, you got to drink, you got to eat. Like literally, I work everything out down to a timer. I know that we've got technology these days that can give you reminders on your cycling computers and watch and stuff. But I'm constantly telling myself, okay, let's say I come out of the swim at 8 o'clock, for example, I'm like, okay, in 15 minutes, I need a drink. In 15 minutes, I need a drink. And as those 15-minute increments come along, and then I'm telling myself in 45 minutes, you need to eat. So it's like time passes by very fast when you're constantly telling yourself like, eat, drink, eat, drink, eat, drink. And it's even more important actually on colder days, funnily enough, because you think it naturally happens on a hot day that you consume more liquids. But on days where it's really cold and it's raining in a race, then you need to focus on it even more because you don't naturally actually feel like taking in fluids, but you're still burning at the end of the day.
I think it's true what you're saying, because on a hot day, you automatically want to drink more. But when it's a cooler day, I think that's when you dehydrate actually the quickest because you're not aware of that. Let's go back a little bit to Louise as a child. And growing up, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? What type of sports did you do? Did you always know that this is something you wanted to do in your life? Always being competitive? Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so I am a Pretoria chick through and through. I've grown up in...
What's that song, Pretoria Girls?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so born and raised in Pretoria, lived there up until 2 years ago. I went to Littleton Primary, then went to Cornwall Hill College, which was an incredible private school, the first private school in Centurion and the Pretoria area. I've always been a water baby, like absolutely love water. And the irony behind that is that when I was about 1 year old, I think the gate had actually been left open when my dad was mowing the lawn. We lived in a massive, like, nice, beautiful property in Wholesfull, which is in the Pretoria area. And my parents actually found me floating face down in the pool. And my dad actually had to jump in, pull me out the water and actually resuscitate me. So the irony is that I'm like a water baby. I love water. I thought I could walk on water, but yet it's actually the number one thing. My biggest fear is actually drowning. And because I basically did drown as a baby. Yeah. And I think my love for water has never gone away. If you even ask my niece, she'll tell you if you ask Auntie Lulu what she wanted to be when she was growing up or a child, and I'd always say, like, I want to be a mermaid. I want to be able to swim underwater. And I feel exactly still like that. I love the feeling of the water and just being in it. And then from a school perspective, I think I've always been like really driven to be not necessarily like the best, and compete with anyone else, but I've always wanted to be like the best version of myself. So with that, if you see other people are doing better than you, I think there is a natural like fire that burns that you want to then try push yourself and see, can you do better and what are you capable of at the end of the day? And I think it's actually, as I've gotten older, I've become more and more competitive because you maybe start believing in yourself a little bit more. Yeah.
And from there, obviously you matriculated. Did you study further?
I did. I went to Tuckies, Pretoria University, to get it right.
Yeah.
And in my first life, I studied teaching, further education and training.
Huh?
So from grade 7, to matrics, and I was like swimming coach, business studies, tourism management, absolutely loved it, and then realized like that wasn't actually the right path. So changed dramatically and ended up going into marketing and events in the high-end luxury property development industry.
So you got a full job and you're still doing your Ironman. And how do you juggle that?
It's hard, but I love it. I think the thing is that I think that like the ultimate way of actually showing that you are being a successful person. And I give so much credit to people that are married and have kids and have full-time jobs and decide to do endurance sport, because at the end of the day, it's about choosing a healthy lifestyle and almost like living your life to the max, taking every opportunity that you can. And if it's something that sets your soul on fire, why not do it? And hopefully inspire people to take their lives and their health seriously. Look, I'm not saying that full Ironman is the answer, or like endurance sport is the answer for everyone. Yeah. But I hope that like by working a full-time job that is quite demanding and then also doing sport, that it shows that if it's important to you, you'll make time for it, And I think that it doesn't have to be triathlon. If it's Pilates, if it's going to the gym, if it's 3 times a week, if it's going for a walk, it's just about moving your body and making healthier choices so that you can have a healthier, fitter, longer life in the long term.
When did you realize that this is something you wanted to do? How did you get into Ironman?
So I think from a endurance long-term perspective and sport perspective, my dad had a triple heart bypass when I was 16 and my brother was 18. And I think that was the first time so I was already swimming competitively and I ran because it complemented the swimming. But it's the first time I really thought, wow, okay, life is really, really fragile and it can be taken away from you in any instance. And my dad actually has diabetes and he's got heart disease. And it was a massive rude awakening in terms of saying, well, these are hereditary diseases, but you can actually take control of your life. And by the way that you live your life, you can sort of almost put, let's say, stop those things from being impactful into your life, or at least give yourself the best possibility of living a healthy, happy life going forward as you get older. And I think that the biggest thing is that we all live such a fast-paced, stressed out, high-pressured life. And I think especially in Johannesburg, I think that's why everyone's emigrating down to Cape Town to get away from this like fast pace that they're living. The hustle and bustle. And I think that by at least having sport, you're also curbing a massive, massive impact of stress and anxiety in your life. So from that aspect, I'd actually always known that I really wanted to do a triathlon and probably a half Ironman. Because I don't know if you remember, there used to be the Jade triathlon series. And it was like fun little kids. And they used to have it, I think, out at Benoni Lake. It was such a cool series. I know that one of our Olympians, Henry Skuman, even grew up, Richard Murray, all those guys grew up into the triathlon industry through that series. And I used to compete in like team relays. I'd do the swim leg of it. And I remember hearing about a half Ironman. I was like, oh my gosh, one day I'll be big and I'll do a half Ironman. And then when I was like in my early 20s, I decided, okay, I'm going to start cycling. And then the guy that I was actually dating at the time, he was already doing full Ironman. So it was actually quite a easy transition because he already knew how to do it, how to train for it. And I had the most like life-altering experience. I went down to Ironman African Champs. It was just Ironman South Africa back then. It was probably 12 years ago. And I remember standing on the pier there by Nelson Mandela Bay, and it's like the most goosebump experience that the African drums are playing and you have like 3,000 athletes on the beach and the helicopters like flying over the water. So you've got this like and the drums of the African dancers. And then we start singing the national anthem. Start singing the national anthem and the sun is actually rising over the ocean. And even as I sit here now, it actually gives me goosebumps thinking about it. And then they fire the cannon to start the race. And all of a sudden, these 3,000 athletes run off into the ocean. You think to yourself, shit, anything could happen. Like, this is such a long day. They've got 16 and a half hours to go out there and finish. wow, you're actually like in awe in that moment. And then as the last people start going into the ocean, you see the dad with his cerebral palsy son in a canoe that he's now going to swim and pull the son in the ocean. Then he's going to go out onto the bike and basically push him on the bike, and then go onto the run section and push him in a pram. And you just think to yourself, like, what excuses do we have in life when he's literally doing that just so that his son can have this amazing experience?
Yeah.
And then I had to actually ask my friend, like, what's going on here? There's a person running there and another person, they're actually like tied to each other. And she turned around to me. It's actually one of my best friends, Stace. She's like, no, that's a blind woman with her guide that's going into the ocean. I thought, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short,
Yeah.
felt so inspired. Spent the whole day literally from like 4 a.m. until 12 p.m. when the final person crossed that line. I've never been so tired in my life. I've never complained, because I thought, how on earth do I complain about being tired supporting that whole day when some people have been out there all day? And I literally got home from that holiday and entered my first half Ironman. And I've looked back thinking to myself, like, there's no excuse. Like, if you are able-bodied, you're fit, healthy, and you've got a passion for it, like, nothing should ever stop you. You should just go out there and try at the end of the day.
Yeah, I must admit, it's an amazing experience at Ironmans, and it's amazing to see the type of people. You've got people that are way too skinny to be doing it, people overweight doing it, and then you got your pros that you're like, geez, check these sizes. And it's just amazing to see grit. I mean, grit is one of those things that that plays out completely in your life, and I think sports is a very important thing to have in your life, because it teaches you grit. It teaches you not to give up. It teaches you, if you're in a team sport, how to work with other people and how to work together as a group. But as an individual sport, I mean, that's you and yourself, and you've literally got to work through that whole day and not give up. And there's many times I'm sure you've felt like giving up. How many half Ironmans have you done already?
I want to say half Ironmans. I've done about like 15 or 16 half Ironmans. And then full Ironmans. I've done 8 in total, of which 6 of them have been South Africa, and then 2 have been the World Champs, 1 in Kona and 1 in Nice. So
your first half Ironman and your first full Ironman. What were the feelings? How did it feel finishing and crossing that line? What was it to you?
Wow. I think it's like a life-altering moment, to be honest. I actually say this to quite a few people, and I think you can even speak from experience. I think half Ironman, you think to yourself, like, oh, it can't be that bad. But it's still daunting at the end of the day. Like, I'd never ran further than a 10K. I'd only just started cycling, like I say. I'd probably cycled maybe 50 or 60 Ks, and then swimming I'm confident in, so I wasn't worried about that. So that's a massive bonus. But stringing it all together, I mean, you're just surviving, in all honesty. And when you finish, you're like, you're so broken. It's so broken. It's not even funny. But full Ironman is definitely like the most life-changing experience ever. Like, I actually felt that something fundamentally inside of me changed. Like, those last 3 kilometers that you're actually running down the finish line, you just think to yourself, this is something that no one can ever take away from you. You have done this. Like, yes, you have your family, your friends, and a loved one, a partner, or kids that are there for you, supporting you, encouraging you, and you cannot do it without them at the end of the day. But you know that, like, every single thing that you've done, from the training to your sleep to the way that you've been eating to saying no to social events, to sacrifices you're making on social events and things that you're doing at work, that no one can ever take that away from you. You have fundamentally laid that foundation, put in the hard work, and you've had to dig to the darkest places of your soul to actually get you across that finish line. And I just remember waking up in the middle of the night, like you so saw that first Ironman, waking up and I'd moved my pinky and I was like, oh, All I know is I'll never feel pain like that ever again. It's like you can't even get up or downstairs. You could like roll yourself off a bed like you're a dead beach seal. No, it's extreme. But that's the beauty of like a first of anything is you know that it'll never hurt as much as the first time that you've actually done it. But once you've done it, you know that you can do it. Like no one can take that away from you, which is incredible. And I think that that's where that cycle of that addiction almost comes, that, you know, the endorphins that get released from doing these endurance sports because the hard work pays off. Sometimes, I'll be honest, you feel like you're putting in a lot of time and energy and it just feels like you're not getting anywhere. But I think that that's also part of the process of the grind. I mean,
that's when most people give up.
Exactly. And I was listening to a podcast this morning where David Goggins was actually saying, you know, that's why he says, like, never give up, get hard, get hard. And it's hard to hear that, but it is actually the truth. Unfortunately, is that in that darkness, you actually have to just keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And you just have to hope that one day it just comes together. You don't know when it's going to be.
What's your motivation? What is it that gets you to grind through it? Because a lot of people give up. So what is it? Is there something in life or something that's happened that you've got to do it? I've seen many people, and a lot of people I've spoken to, something occurred in their lives that was a changing point in their lives that they were like, listen, yeah, now I'm going for this and I don't care what happens, but I'm not going to give up. What was it for you?
So I think the biggest thing that changed in my life was that I got divorced 3 years ago. So I was with my ex, the person that actually inspired me to get into my first half Ironman and full Ironman. And I think it was like the hardest decision of my life to walk away from that relationship because I was actually losing myself completely. And I think I felt so guilty walking away from it, but I felt like I really had to fight for the person that I knew I was and the person that I wanted to be. And I took a little bit of time. It was during COVID. So I think we all had a lot of like introspection and asked ourselves like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Who do we want to be doing it with? Because we were losing loved ones as well. I did lose someone very close to me who was like a second dad at the time. And it really made me take a step back and say, you know, yes, you've committed for your whole life, but if it's really breaking you down, then it can't actually be good for you at the end of the day. And I sort of had to take a reset. And all I actually really wanted to do was just train. And I remember getting on my indoor bike and I started riding every single day and I'd entered full Ironman again. I'd started coaching with my coach, Benjamin Janssen van Vuren, who I've been with now for over 5 years. And him and his wife are actually close friends of mine. And I think having people like that who are supporting you mentally, physically, and emotionally, knowing what you're going through. And I just found that the sport for me was the best release possible.
It was the outlet for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I found so much healing in being able to actually like grind away and grind through the emotions that I was actually going through. And I just remember thinking to myself whilst I was training that it was just showing me that you are in control and you are so much more powerful than you actually realize. And if you take that power and you try to put it into a positive, it's going to bring more positive at the end of the day. And I kind of felt like, not to say from a feminist perspective, but I had been, I don't know, because I'd lost myself so much in the relationship that I was in, it was almost like a little bit of like woman power of like, just see how strong I actually am. And to say to all the other women out there as well, like no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what you're going through, you're so much more powerful than you realize. And there's a quote that I wrote down that has stuck with me throughout my journey the last 5 years, saying the same fire that burns you down is the fire that lights the way. So let the fire refine you, don't let it define you. So you use that as a source to remind you of like who you are, where you've been, and that you're just so much more powerful than you think that you are. And it's like when not giving up is your only option, it's like then that's when you figure out like how strong you actually are. And I really thought in that process, I hope that I can just inspire, whether it's a man, woman, anyone, to say whatever you're going through, whether it's losing someone, financial, emotional strain, it's like the only thing you can control is how you react to something at the end of the day, and try to take control of that, put that positive energy and just focus on the things that are controllable every single day, and you put your energy into that. And I promise it's like a little hamster on a wheel that just starts producing all this electricity and positivity, and it'll just basically block out all the peripheral noise.
Yeah, so you do a lot of self-development, right? You listen to podcasts, you read books, but you've told me about this mirror of yours
Yes.
that you've got in your bathroom.
Now you're exposing me.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that mirror.
You're making me blush, human. Yeah, so that's actually, it's quite funny that you bring this up, because two of the quotes that I just quoted now are actually on that mirror. You really have made me blush. So I think it was about a year ago. Yeah. I mean, obviously you hear of people with like the inspiration boards and like their mood board for the year and all of this. And I've never been one of those people, I'll really be honest. But I do love like inspirational quotes and listening to podcasts. And beginning of this year, I actually just thought, well, if it means something to you, write it down. That's what everyone always says to you. So, I mean, I've got a journal, I write it down. And I just thought to myself, but you know what, like, where do you look every single day?
Go back to that.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, but every morning you look in the mirror, like whilst you're brushing your teeth, wash your face. Yeah. And then on an evening, same thing. You go back there to brush your teeth. So why not just write these messages on the mirror? So there's some that stay consistently there, and then there's some that I add that are new. And I actually write my goals up there as well, from racing perspective and life perspective. And after the last 3 big events that I've had, I did Ironman African Champs in March, and then I did 70.3 Durban in June, and now Joburg Ultra in September. Then I actually clean the mirror and then I rewrite it down. And what's quite interesting is that I end up writing everything in different order. So it's obviously based on like what I think is more important than another thing. But I can tell you that every single time it goes grace, grit, and gratitude. So there's always in some order gratitude, grit, grace up there, because I think that those are like the 3 most key principles for me in my life, in terms of always being grateful for what I have, where I am, my family, what's to come, the grit that you need, and being grateful for the grit that I've had as well. And then having grace and being grateful for having that grace towards myself and towards other people.
And you talk a lot about family as well. So obviously family is very important to you. And I think a lot of people nowadays, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people nowadays are like, no, family doesn't really mean anything. And a lot of people pull away from their families. And obviously there's certain reasons why people do. And we're not here to judge people in regards to anything like that. But I do feel, and I'm very strong about family, I think family dynamics and that core that you have with family is very important throughout life, because it gives you that ability to have grit, to take risk, to do things that you usually wouldn't, because you know you can always fall back on your family and they're there to support you and protect you and help you through the way. How important is family to you?
So I think like you've hit the nail on the head there, is that by having that strong foundation of family, it's like, you know, that you've always got this foundation of people that are just going to love you unconditionally. And in all honesty, it doesn't matter whether you're a success, a failure. To them, they don't care about that. They just want to see you happy at the end of the day. So if they see your soul being set on fire and you being made to be happy with whatever you're doing, your job, your partner, kids, the training, they're going to support you regardless. And I think that that's why you can actually sometimes take risks and jump and go do crazy things, because you know they're always going to be there for you. So yeah, family is key through everything in life. And I think it's only when you've been through like really hard, like through a hardship and through a traumatic situation, you almost don't realize that they're going to be there for you until they are there for you.
Yeah.
And it gives you even more power going forward. So I've seen, even through the personal experiences I've had and hardships, wow, all of a sudden my family were there unconditionally, like just loving and caring and supporting. And then to take that into then racing and training, because like I say, there are a lot of sacrifices that you make in terms of the training and racing. But I think most of the people that know me know that like my mom is my best friend. She's my travel partner. Like Paul K from Ironman, who's the voice of Ironman, knows that like Louise Bentley, Mrs. B, is always with me. World Champs, Ironman, you name it. She's my biggest supporter and my best friend. So, you know, we're like living and breathing it together. And then my family are just there for me unconditionally, and they just want to see me thriving and just being happy at the end of the day. And it's so nice, because when you're going through the toughest times, I think knowing that you have a foundation of like, I'm a Christian and I solely rely on God and my faith, and I personally don't know who people turn to when they're going through hardship and a tough time, and especially when it is that real dark place in a race. Knowing that you have that faith and you can lean on a greater power, and then you have your family that are there for you, loving you unconditionally no matter whatever happens. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a extra that a person has, which is really amazing. And I think, I've seen it also. We all go through hardships in life. We all go through difficult times in life, whether it be in sports, whether it be in business, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in anything. The nice thing about knowing is that your family never see anything wrong in you.
Yes.
And it's, and even though they do know that what you're doing is wrong, they still just so supportive. And I think that's where also spirituality and your faith, there's numerous faiths around, but one of the things about faith is that the God that you're with, especially in Christianity for me, is that, you know, he's a God that forgives, a God that loves unconditionally. And that's why I do see sometimes there's an element of, if you don't have a good core in family, you usually battle with spirituality because you don't really get that understanding of who God is, because you don't feel it with the family. And so that's something very interesting. And you've just done 2 world champs, right? One in Kona in Hawaii, which apparently is
Brutal.
a killer. I was watching it the other day and I saw
the wheels come off.
The wheels come off by 2 of the strongest women that you think are just going to smash it right through and can hardly even walk. But I mean, they just pushed themselves through those limits and that heat. And then you did the other one in Nice, right?
Yes.
So, and then your mom was there backing you during all this time as well. And so how was that experience for you?
Both were extremely brutal. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have, so Kona was my first ever international race, and I had like all the worst luck I could basically have. We were also just 2022. So it's the first time we were traveling after COVID. And I think that travel. It's like 40 hours of traveling. It's 12 hours time difference. Like nothing can prepare you for that. That's all I can tell you. And I think when we arrived there, you actually feel with the jet lag as if you've drank a bottle of wine, basically. Like you feel like you're physically underwater and your body just doesn't know what to do with itself. So anyway, a bunch of us, I think, ended up getting flu, which I think was actually COVID. And yeah, so I felt more exhausted on race day than I felt on a normal Saturday going for a training event. And then I had exceptionally unlucky luck that when I went out onto the pier on the morning to go pump my tires and check everything was fine, my back tire actually like exploded. And it was just absolute chaos because there's like a one-way system on the pier. So there's rows of bikers, probably like 2,400 athletes, because it was the first time they'd split the men and women racing because it was 2 years worth of Ironman qualifiers for world champs. So you're like queuing to try get to the bike mechanic. So the bike mechanic changes my tire, helps me out, go put the bike there. But now obviously you have like all this adrenaline rushing through your system. So I'm like stretching, calming my mind, saying like, don't let this get the better of you. This is an incredible experience. And in Kona, the Hawaiian people, they really speak about like all the elements of the island and stopping and making sure that you really show gratitude. And I think that that's where I really learned that you need to take moments to embrace the beauty of the island and be grateful for the elements of the air, the land, the water, the animals, everything that you can think of. And I really tried to have that like open heart and spiritual connectedness to the island. And it just wasn't my day, unfortunately, I've got to say. So I got out the swim. It was a bit slow. There was like 2 beautiful rainbows and there's like sea turtles and dolphins. And I'm like, okay, focus on swimming. Stop looking at all the prettiness. And I got out the swim and I got to my bike and my back tire was flat again. So we went to find a mechanic and they helped me and then went out on the bike. And then at about 70 Ks into the bike, I could feel I was getting a slow puncture again. And then unfortunately, there were no mechanics out. It's as if like the mechanics were just following the pros. And even at the aid stations, I'd ask them, please, this is my race number, 1150. I even remember my race number. Please, I need a bike mechanic. So I'd actually tried to change my tire myself, but the extension valve on my deep section wheel on the back tire, I couldn't get it loose. I think the mechanic had tied it so tight. So I just bombed it. Okay, by the way, bombing it is using a CO2 canister to just put in some air into your tire. It's just a quick way, so you don't have to...
You didn't bomb it.
Just to be clear. And instead of pumping your tire. And then it started going flat again. So there was actually an Australian woman, because I was just asking left, right, and center if anyone had a bomb, a CO2 canister, just to be clear. And a woman actually threw me one, helped me out. And then only at about 110 Ks, so I'd already passed the turnaround, coming back from Harvey, did I finally see a bike mechanic. And then they changed my tire for me. And I literally just rode that whole way back with so much. I literally just said, I don't actually have anything left inside of me. Like this is it. Like it needs to be okay. And I went out on the run, and I think I was just so emotionally exhausted. But I just left it out there. You know, it's like you look around and you think I could just walk off this course right now. I've never thought that. I've never had that mentality of like I could just stop right now. And I thought, I don't know if I have it in me today. Like it was just going downhill. I was feeling nauseous, going dizzy, like upset stomach. And you just think, I don't know how much more I can actually take. And then I just thought, well, I'll never give up. Like that is the one thing, is that there's nothing that will stop me from getting to that finish line and that finisher medal. You've worked too hard and come too far to not get that. Yeah. And I just remember being in the energy lab. So it's like this volcanic section of the run. And it's like, it is so hot, it is cooking. You can imagine it's like 200% humidity, 34 degrees, and the heat waves are just like belting off this lava, basically, or volcanic rock. and the sun is starting to set. Yes, it was a very long day, but we unfortunately, so the sun, I was hoping to be done before the sun sets, with the sun setting. And you see people like physically crawling on the road and medics pulling them off the road because they're like vomiting and they're sick and they're like, no, I'm not giving up. And I just thought, shit, Louise, like, you're not that bad. Like, I think pull yourself together and finish. So yeah, that was amazing. And then Nice was incredible. Like I say, I had the most fun. I had no expectations going to Nice, France World Champs, because we don't have any routes like that in South Africa. It is so hilly. I mean, it's the Alps. You're like literally riding the Tour de France routes. And I had the most fun. It was so incredible with these incredible switchbacks and beautiful flat ocean, the Mediterranean. But unfortunately, I don't think I realized it, but I definitely went in. I thought I just had a strain in my ankle, or in the tendon on my ankle from sort of like overtraining because of the amount of training I was doing. But it turns out I actually had a stress fracture, and I ran an entire marathon with a stress fracture at Ironman World Champs. And
you still finished it?
Yeah, I still finished.
Yeah.
I remember actually the last lap of the run just crying and just going like tunnel vision, but just thinking to myself, like, I didn't come this far to come this far. And I mean, I suppose that's like, it can be your downfall at the end of the day, but that is what grit is that I thought, even if I have to crawl to this finish line, nothing is going to stop me. Like, even if I have to hop on one leg because the one leg is so sore, I don't care. I am going to finish this race. And it was totally worth it.
And is it a learning lesson to you that sometimes we push our bodies too far and we don't listen to our bodies, and we push it too far and then we get all these injuries and that? Has that taught you a lesson in life?
I don't know how to answer that, because you don't know until you know. And I think from my experiences now, I would say that I would rather push myself that hard, and find out what happens than not know. But I think there are warning signs, definitely. I think I have learned definitely that less is more. I think you go in with a mentality of thinking like more is more, and you just have to push yourself and suck it up, princess, and drink concrete. But there is definitely a very fine line. And I think if you can try focus on, I mean, like speaking about supplements, focusing on sleep, going for massages, I never do that. Unfortunately, I'm so busy with work and the training. I know we're supposed to go see physios and go for sports massages. Unfortunately for me, you've got to just prioritize.
But through this time where you obviously had that stress fracture and everything, you've learned now that strength training is quite important now. And you're obviously doing a lot more strength training that you maybe did before and that you maybe ignored a little bit more. So I'm sure, and that all comes with defeat, right? So when you defeat it or you mess it up, it's a good learning curve.
Big
and I
time.
think it's so important that every defeat you've got to look at and go, well, this was a learning curve for me, and it actually just makes you a stronger person moving forward and growing yourself forward. But what is one recovery tip or health hack that you swear by that amateurs might overlook?
I would say sleep and nutrition, definitely. I think one of the biggest things I've really tried to focus on recently is sleep. So, I mean, you wear a Whoop, you love the Whoop to see how it works. I sleep with my Garmin on. I know that we shouldn't be, super laser focused on what these stats are, because, I mean, they also tell us like unproductive when you're the most productive. But anyway.
Well, you're tired.
Yeah, you're tired.
You're not tired.
And then you're like, but I feel fantastic. So I don't understand. But I would say like prioritizing your sleep. And I can say that 7 to 7.5 hours is like my sweet point for me. Yours could be 8 hours, someone else could be 5 hours. But I think if you make sure that you are getting nutrition in and sleeping well, you're definitely bringing down the risk of injury. That's the number one thing. Because I personally think that like injury came for me because of the amount I was busy training. And I think I almost got a little bit lost in it towards the end of not prioritizing good quality sleep. So even checking, I mean, we were having a look now at drinking magnesium and things to help you get into like a deep sleep and that REM sleep, because that's where your body is actually healing itself and resting properly. So I mean, you could have 10 hours sleep, but it doesn't mean it's good quality sleep where your body is actually healing and making sure that you're getting the right supplements that your body needs. So I know that everyone is like, oh, creatine. It's become
That's a new thing.
Exactly. Yeah. But I swear by it. I've been drinking creatine since 2022 when I qualified for Kona. And the person I was training with at the time, when I first introduced strength training, funnily enough, said to me, oh, women are so scared of creatine. And he said, yeah, sure, you'll get a little bit of a like water retention initially when you start drinking it, but the long-term effects are going to be so good. So I really swear by sleep and then getting in creatine and L-glutamine every single day for recovery purposes.
What is your morning routine?
From
when you open those eyes in the morning.
Wow. Okay, so I have 2 alarms, first of all. I have a 5-minute grace just to wake myself up. Then it's straight away kettle on. I have some green tea, which is like really great for cleansing your body and your stomach and your intestines and stuff, just to like prepare your body for what you're about to do for the day. I know people don't agree in having caffeine first thing in the morning, but I smash a coffee with milk, okay? And I use collagen as well, so I put collagen in there. Yeah. I don't actually eat first thing on a morning, but then with my training, I'll have nutrition. I personally love Power Bar, it works for me, and then Morton gels. And if it's a longer session, then I have a gel in it or a banana in it. But yeah, I try not to go like too fast first thing on a morning. I actually give myself sort of like 45 minutes to get up and get going, have a cup of tea in bed, get up, wash my face, brush my teeth, get ready, and then either go to the pool or jump on the indoor bike. Generally, my runs are later on in the day as my second or third session. So I normally always start with a swim or bike on a morning. So I just don't like feeling chaotic or like I'm rushing first thing on a morning. So I would have packed all my things the night before, decided what I'm doing, checked my program so that when I get up on a morning, I can listen to like a nice podcast whilst I'm getting ready or like some sort of motivational talk to get my mind in the right space. And then obviously read my long message on my mirror before leaving whilst brushing my teeth.
And it's quite interesting what you're talking about sleep, because Discovery, actually, I don't know if you know this yet, but they've just introduced sleep into your vitality status.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, some inside info.
Yeah, so we'll take that fast.
but it's
Let's get some more smoothies.
Yeah,
I love me a peanut butter bomb. Addicted.
So it's all coming in right now where you'll actually be able to earn points by having good sleep. And they've come to realize that sleep is probably one of the most important parts of being healthy. And so it's quite interesting that you were also saying that sleep is an important thing to have, because that is where your body actually really does recover. And it's funny, the whole world out there, to be cool and to be like, really, I'm the man, is saying, well, I didn't sleep last night.
Yeah.
We had this conversation as well about alcohol, that as soon as you stop drinking, everybody's saying like, why don't you drink? But, it should be actually the other way around. It's like, why do you drink? Yes. It's the same with sleep. It's like, it's not cool to have 3 hours or 4 hours of sleep, because in the long term, you're going to get, what's this loss of with your brain function, where you forget things, Alzheimer's, dementia. It's one of the biggest causes of Alzheimer's and dementia noted because of not sleeping. So it's actually not cool to not sleep. It's actually far better to get that 7-8 hours and consistently. And what they've also realized is that you've got to, what's even more important actually than the length of sleep is when you go to sleep. So if you're going to sleep every night consistently at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, that is more important actually than even the amount of sleep that a person's having. So that's very interesting that you brought that up. But where to from here? What is going on in your life from here on in? You've got Ironman Champs coming up in March. What's your goal there? What are you trying to achieve?
So I'm racing Mossel Bay now, which is a half Ironman. I've really focused on half Ironmans this year, actually. So it's crazy. I qualified for Kona this year, which is full Ironman World Champs, and Marbella, which is 70.3 World Champs. But I made the decision to rather focus on being consistent, getting my training done, no traveling, no going to World Champs, just because it's also like quite a financial strain at the end of the day. And I just said, no, I just want to put my head down and do the training. So next year, the big goal is to win age grouper overall, female age grouper overall. Unfortunately, we haven't had the best conditions at PE African Champs. So I feel like it's not a PB route. So that's like a personal best time. So I'm still searching for that sub 10-hour Ironman. So hopefully I can get it next year. Yeah. And then when my age group, there is a new qualification categories and allocation of slots for Ironman World Champs Kona, Hawaii. But by winning my age group and age grouper overall, that should secure me a slot to go to Ironman World Champs. And the goal is to go to Ironman World Champs Kona, Hawaii and podium in my age group. I have a point to prove and I'm on a mission. And I want to help inspire as many people as possible along the way. And yeah, there'll definitely be some other smaller races like 70.3 Durban, half Ironman, some of the ultra races, just as a, training and keeping the body sharp. I love racing. So the training I love, like I actually don't need to train I don't have to have a race to motivate me. Let me put it like that, to do the training because I love the training so much. So I love the word that you used just now, like consistency is key. It's all about like consistency beats talent every single time. I'm telling you right now, you can have all the talent, but if you're not willing to do the work, the consistency is inevitably going to outshine at the end of the day. So yes, I have talent, but I'm not the most talented athlete, but I'm willing to put in the hard work. And I hope that it inspires people to show that, like, if you just show up every day and you do the hard work, like, hopefully next year with my Ironman races, it's going to show that it actually pays off.
How many hours a week are you doing now?
Currently, I'm training 19 to 20 hours a week. When we ramp things up a little bit for full Ironman, it'll be anything between like 22 and 24 hours of training a week.
That's a lot. And it starts at what time in the mornings do you start?
So anything, I get up between like 4:15 and 4:30 on the morning to start training by like 5 a.m, 5:30. And then I can finish training on an evening, anything between like 7 and 8:30. It depends if I'm doing like strength and a run or a longer bike or or what time I finish work even. I mean, this weekend I'll be working Saturday and Sunday, and I don't actually know how I'm going to figure out my training. So it's going to be like an indoor 3-hour bike from 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. So I'll be like at club indoor bike on Saturday night.
Yes.
So, but if it means something to you, you figure out a way to figure it out.
No, it's true.
So, and fit it in.
No, that's amazing. And obviously you're inspiration to a lot of people, and you give back actually to a lot of people. So tell me a little bit more about this group of ladies that you're assisting and helping at this stage.
So this is so exciting, Sean. I've really got to say, it really sets my soul on fire. So I'm involved with the Autumn General Cross Triathlon, which is hosted at Stain City. I actually work for Stay City as their marketing and events manager. And Auto in General are actually my title sponsor as well, because they really believe in commitment, consistency, upliftment, and they're obviously involved in triathlon and really believe in that healthy aspect of life. So last year we actually came up with the idea to identify a woman who comes from a disadvantaged background, basically, who has the passion to want to do a triathlon, and to basically help her from a swim aspect and then coach on the triathlon side of things. So it was super exciting. Caroline Matamela is like the most enthusiastic and divine woman you'll ever come across. So she actually started her own cycling foundation called the Matamela Ladies Cycling Foundation. And she takes women that have never ever cycled from 16 years old to 80 years old and helps teach them how to cycle. And I was introduced to her and helped her get to do her first full triathlon, basically. So luckily she had learned how to swim, but she hadn't done open water swimming before. So I coached her in that and coached on the elements of how to actually do a triathlon. And yeah, she actually finished her first cross triathlon standard distance race this year.
Yeah.
And now what's really exciting is we have 10 ladies that are currently learning how to swim, and they're being coached currently just on the swim aspect. And once they've received the necessary certification from a swim perspective, they come over to me, and then I'll be teaching them to do the open water swimming and then stringing together the triathlon of the swim to bike to run. And then we'll be doing some training activities here at Stay City and getting them excited for it with the backing of Auto in General supporting it. So it feels like a really beautiful story of women from all different walks and backgrounds, all different ages, all just being excited about being healthy and fit and being outdoors and supporting each other, which is amazing.
That's exciting. So you actually, even through it all, being able to give back at this stage as well. And I think that's an amazing thing, because that's actually where the heart gets tickled.
I know.
And it's really something
soul on fire. And then hearing everyone's stories, because everyone has a purpose and a reason for why they get involved in endurance sports at the end of the day and want to help each other. And it just builds this beautiful community that just starts shining, and it's like moths to flames, basically, these beautiful unicorns.
And it's going to obviously teach people a lot in life through building grit. And then you bring that into everyday life of your business, your work, you kind of push through in these things. So yeah, well done to you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So as you know, that when we close this off, the previous speaker asked a question.
Yes.
And he doesn't know who he's going to ask it to. but he's raised a question, and I'm going to ask you the question. And then, let us know what your thoughts on this. But what do you believe is the role of individuals, whether in business, sports, or everyday life, in contributing to the development and improvement of our country? Example, how can our personal achievements and goals be aligned with initiatives that foster community growth and a better South Africa?
I think that's a phenomenal question and really tough, actually, because it's got so many layers to it. But I think it actually aligns exactly what we were talking about from an upliftment perspective with these ladies, with the Matamela Ladies Foundation and Caroline, because that's exactly it, is that it's an individual sport, triathlon, that I'm involved in. But by finding women that are in the community near you that are searching for community and upliftment, and giving them the opportunity to learn a new skill and meet new people, and almost move out of their own areas as well and see the world. It just gives such skills and inner strength to these ladies to be able to feel that they are part of a greater community. And then I just think, like, if you take it, that's on a national level, if you look at it internationally as well, is that South Africa is actually on the map because of sports people. Like, look at Jamie Riddle. He just went and won. He's been an Olympian. He's been to Kona, well, not Kona, but to Nice, France, and finished top 5 in the world, giving this exposure to South Africa again on like this sporting platform that it shows there is this input and there is this passion within our country for sport and upliftment. And it just makes the world look at South Africa and realize like there's a lot of positive going on as well. So I think when you can bring that type of exposure to a country, it definitely creates an idea for people to come and visit it, number one. So then it's also creating tourism. People come and experience it for themselves. You get to meet people internationally. You get to share stories. So that connectivity with the world is definitely there. And then with the sporting aspect, being able to uplift within a community and give people the resources that they need to try something new, even more powerful, building that community.
Well, thanks, Louise. It was great having you on here today, and thanks for being such a great inspiration to so many.
Thank you.
And looking forward to seeing you at those Ironman championships. And I'm sure you're going to do exceptionally well. So thanks once again, and I hope that you get out there and smash it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. And just, it's amazing to be able to share my story. And I appreciate the input and all the support that you also give me and the belief, because, you know, it, like I said, you can't do it without the people that actually believe in you and support you. And you just want to be able to inspire people at the end of the day. So thank you for all of that.